like to remind everyone that this show is brought to you by the Dolphin Wars.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to King Dolphin Television, episode 216. I am Raymond. I am the author of the Dolphin Wars book trilogy and ruler of the best pod on YouTube. I hope we are all doing well. We've got another interview today with a great creator. Please give a King Dolphin Television welcome to Rob Ellis of E3D Printing Studio. They are a 3D printing business that prints out mainly articulated items such as dragons, spiders, and other little fidgets to play with or display. They've done printings of helmets and other cosplay items such as Thor's hammer. Welcome, Rob. How are you doing?
How are you?
All right. Before we get going, as always, if you like what we're doing here at the pod, if you love these interviews, if you love the general mayhem and fun of the pod, please like and subscribe. Also, if you know anyone I should interview, please send me their names so I can reach out to them and set them up for another informative interview here at King Dolphin TV. Now, before we get started with the questions, and I know there's already questions in the chat, they're not patient. They got to have everything ready.
Yes.
Let me welcome the ones who make this chat possible. We have out there my amazing wrenched group. We have my producer and my other half, Sandra. Hello, honey. And I am glad you're here to keep things sane and help me out when I need to. We have the first one in, the last one out. We have Legatus Legionai, and glad you are here. And he's already been doing some great questions in the chat. Also, we've got the baddest and hardest working bear on the internet. You know him, you love him, and you mostly fear him. We don't have the usual Jaws music, but this should help. Snort up, Pupas! Cuba. Scream. Let's get some. I want to see if he can do a mini snort. That's what I want to see. Or a snortopupus. Yeah, we need to see that. All right. Have a great show, guys. All right. Okay. We have also Dalek451. How are you doing, Dalek? Yeah, I'm glad you're here too. I am glad you're here too. All right. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to, and we've got Pierre Kelly. People are just going to start coming in. It's good to have Pierre Kelly on. All right. Okay. So our touch, when people come on, we'll welcome them as we go around. So, Rob, what we do here is, as I told you earlier, it's my goal to have the chat interact with my interviewees. So we'll just do a general introduction, cool. Some background questions, and then I let the chat have at you.
Oh,
nah, they're good.
Throw them to the wolves. Get them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Make sure you're ready for the hard hitting questions.
Oh, I'm going to try.
Okay. All right. So, first off, tell us about Rob Ellis, non-creator.
So, well, me, I'm just trying to get out there and try something new. Um, when COVID hit, I sat around the house doing absolutely nothing, and my wife despised it. So, I started watching TikTok a lot, and my kids were like, "You're too old to be watching this stuff." And then I found 3D printing stuff, and I was like, "But this is cool." So I started watching that, and then I kind of just fell in love with it. I love fixing stuff. I love decorating stuff. I love being able to find work and share it with other people. So I did my research. I researched for almost 6 months, before I even bought a machine to figure out what I wanted to do with it, what was easiest for me, how I was gonna, um, what area I was gonna go into for, a hobby or business.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, everything just kind of took off.
All right. Um, so that's what made you want to be a creator then.
Right. And I mean, I dabble in design, but as far as like these are can koozies I actually designed from the ground up, which that's about the limit of my creative designs right now. I'm still working on other projects,
Mm-hmm.
but my daughters do artwork and then they forward them to me. So I put their artwork on our can koozies. So that right there, it started me in the design. Fusion 360, Nomad Sculpt are two of the ones that I use. There are others out there that are kind of easier for other people. But design wise, I usually go to other creators, what we call a Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
The Patreons we have to pay for every month as a business. We help their small business, and then they give us the commercial rights in order to sell whatever we print. So we help them, they help us.
Okay.
So.
Okay. How long have you been doing this? You said you've just been doing it.
It's been about 2 years. Yeah.
2 years.
It's been about 2 years.
What did you do before? What did you do before?
Pardon? Well, I'm still full-time employed. I work in the school district for special ed. So I do that as my day job. As soon as I come home, I bunker down into the basement where our shop is and get to work.
Okay. So you're a teacher then?
TA for special needs. Yep.
Okay. All right. And let's see. So, okay. So what is your specialty when you do your three designs?
So mainly I want to say a lot of the stuff we sell is just the dragons. Those are a big hit at every show that we go to. Any of the articulating stuff, everybody loves it. They once they pick it up, they're like, "Whoa, is this wax?" I'm like, "Nope, all plastic." So once they pick it up, because they're just intrigued, they'll pick it up, they'll start playing around with it, and then boom, they're hooked. And they're like, "I got to get one." Dragons are a big seller. Cosplay items can be a big seller. I haven't dove into that aspect as much, just because it takes a long time, and with a full-time job, You know,
Yeah.
it's harder. It's really hard to actually get those models taken care of and detailed. So,
Okay.
and you'll see one here in a few minutes. It's took me about 5.5 months just because of the fact that my full-time job.
Okay. All right. Let's see next. All right. And what? Okay.
I'm reading the chat too as well. As
Yeah.
we're going through, just make sure I'm keeping up.
Yeah. Oh, we'll go into the questions.
Yeah.
That, as I said, they don't want to wait. They just want to
Nah.
bombard you. Okay. Roughly, how many of your pieces do you have?
On hand right now, dragon wise, probably 30 or 40
Okay.
of the adult dragons. There's probably about 20 baby dragons right now. But right now we're just kind of gearing for the holiday season. So like the dragons will still be there, but kind of shifting everything for the holiday shops. I mean, we've got
Okay.
2 this weekend and 2 next weekend.
Okay. I know there's excuse me, there's other questions out there that will tie with this. Can you make custom made items?
Yeah, actually, it depends on the level that it takes. I just actually finished a custom order for a lady's logo for her boss. And that I actually have to deliver that this week so she can get it out in time for Christmas because he's out in Colorado.
Okay.
Yeah. Or, I'm sorry, North Carolina.
North Carolina.
So, yeah, I just finished that up for her as well as a custom name tag for her Instagram stuff. So, like simple models like that, I can definitely do. As far as intricate designs, it's harder to do for me just because I haven't had time to sit down and actually learn all of it. I'm kind of self-teaching myself, like Fusion 360 and Nomad Sculpt. So it's a huge learning curve, and plus working 8 to 10 hours, then getting home, time with that, everybody upstairs, and don't get me wrong, like they love it too because my daughters are into art and design and stuff like that. So they kind of, hey, how about try this? Hey, what about this? And they'll send me stuff and they'll try and do it themselves too, which is nice.
So they work. So they're sort of part of the business.
Yeah, and my youngest daughter, actually, I call her my marketing manager. She is like, hey, by the way, I found this. This should be on your schedule. You should go ahead and take care of this. I was like, yes, ma'am. All right.
Hey, great that when you have it in the family.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay. So, so you use a standard 3D. So you use a standard 3D program, and then a high-end printer.
Oddly enough, I started out with a lower end printer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, like I said, I'm just going to go ahead and blanket this one for everybody who's interested in 3D printing. Do your research. Literally, and I tell everybody this at every show that I go to that asks about it. Do your research. Figure out what you want to do with it. Because people jump in, they don't do the research, they don't take the time to actually learn what they want to do with it, and then they get frustrated when things go wrong, and then you just give up. So like I said, we were talking earlier. I spent 6 months, backgrounding what printer I wanted to look at. Everybody was like, "Well, you should go with an Ender 3." Ender 3s are good machines. Don't get me wrong, but they are a tinker machine. I didn't want to sit there and tinker with it as much as I wanted to print and get out there. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah.
So I went with the Ender 5 Pro. Same company, just a little bit better machine. And it worked out for me. That thing has been my workhorse. He's been offline for about, I want to say a month now. But, it's time to retire him for a little while. But that Ender 5 has been my workhorse for almost 2 years.
Oh, great.
It's the maintenance, and you got to keep up with all that. But we ended up spending. We had a good couple of weekends recently, and we picked up 2 of the multicolor printers. They run about $1,100 to $1,500 a piece. So we ended up getting 2 of those to keep up with our manufacturing.
Okay. What we'll do is I've gone through my questions. What we're going to do is we'd like to see some of your wares. So I know you've got pictures. So if you want to share them,
Okay.
and don't do them all at once. We'll do it as I'm going to open it up to the chat for questions and comments. But first, I want to welcome the Comic Relief Crusader. Hello, my friend.
Whoop, whoop.
With Christina Hoffman Art, a wonderful person and a great artist in her own right, and a great author. Let's see. I said hello to Dalek451. We've got Matt G, also known as Taylor Swift is greater than Disney and all the other Disney and MCU. We've got Captain Infinity. So I think that's caught up with the chat. So let's see. Let's start taking a look at pictures.
All right. Let me see here. Let's go to this one. There we go. Maybe. Now it worked earlier. What's going on here?
Okay. Oh, I have to.
There we go.
All right, there you go.
All right. So this is one of our bigger items. I do have a shop over in Winchester, Virginia, that I put most of my stuff in. Little consignment shop. And why is this not giving me the arrow like it was before? That's why. We'll just go backwards from there. But yeah, so we're set up over in Precious Treasures over in Winchester. And
okay.
Yeah, so this is our Mandalorian helmet. This one took me about 5.5 months, like I said.
Whoa.
And what a lot of people don't realize is when you want to do a piece like this, you need to sand it down all the way down until it's almost like glass. Then paint prime, sand, paint prime. Like it's a process. Mm-hmm. The visor in the middle here, I actually cut out. I took it was from Amazon. It's like a motorcycle lens, and I had to actually cut it all out and get it to fit in. It's padded inside, so you can actually wear this. Mm-hmm. So those run about $300 a pop. Mm. And then we've got, you can see in the background there, Spawn
Yep. Comic Relief said he saw it.
Yeah. The interesting part about that one is, and actually, if you want, I can put that one on right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Hold on one sec. I forgot I had it set up over here ready for a show. But
whoa, it lights up.
Yep.
Nice.
And you can actually see through the eyes.
Oh, wow.
You can actually see through the eyes with it lit up. So,
wow.
This one took about 3.5 months.
Uh-huh.
Those guys go to every show with us.
But people don't, but they're not for sale. They're for show.
Nope. They're actually for sale.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're for sale. But when we go to these smaller venues like this, you know, people aren't looking to spend $300 at one stand. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that's something more like if I go to a Comic-Con or something like that.
Yeah,
that's where the big ticket is.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that now, and there's Thor's hammer in the background here.
Oh, nice.
That actually sold 3 weeks ago. And no, it was about 3 or 4 weeks ago. A lady and her son, who's 6, I will never forget this. He walks up and he says, "Can I hold it?" I was like, well, let's see if you're worthy. Go ahead and try and pick it up. And he picks it up. And he was like, his face just lit up. I was like, this is great. This is why I do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love seeing all their faces when they can touch it, you know? And he wanted it. He wanted it so bad. And his mom was like, well, you know, Christmas is coming up. Let's see what we got. Grandma came by.
Uh-oh. You know what happens when Grandma comes by.
She came by and she looked at me and she said, "How much?" And I said, "Ma'am, it's $150. And she goes, "Wrap it up."
Yep. Leave it to Grandma.
Yep. And I was like, all right, well, I will get this wrapped it up. I told my marketing manager, and she looked at me and she said, "It's sold." Nice. But that paint job took me about 2 weeks to get finished up. Nice. I actually made it look like it was worn metal. At first I tried to do a leather wrap around these silver rungs. It just wasn't turning out right, so I had to paint it. Excuse me. Sorry, I've been feeling a little under the weather today, which is but and I think that one's Spider-Man 2099. That one's from, but I did see requiring sorry, I can't say it. Legatus
Legionnaire.
Yeah. So that's the thing about the licensing. I try and stay away from these in general, printing too much of these. Fan art and stuff like that is what they go by. These are actually, like I said, done by other creators. Thor's hammer is Hex 3D. The Mandalorian helmet was done by Hex 3D, and the Spawn helmet was done by Nico Industries. But since we Patreon those, we have the commercial license for the fan art to print and sell that piece. Okay. They're still coming up with logistics and they have shut down a whole bunch of people for these type of designers. I'm sorry. They've shut down a whole bunch of designers because of these replications. So it is a touchy area. That's why I kind of mainly deal and stay with the articulated dragons and other designs that are done by the creators. Like these bad boys right here. I don't know if you can't really see them as well. These are actually articulating dragons and spiders. These are from our Halloween series. What's this one? This one's from our holiday shop as well.
Nice. Okay.
You can't really see them as well, but you've got the articulated branches.
I love it.
Those are going like hotcakes at my tables. Like I had 2 or 3 set up, and then boom! As soon as I put them on the table, they were gone.
They were gone. Okay. Great. I got one from Legatus Lee. Well, you've read the one. Here's the very first one he had, and I had to bring this up.
Okay.
Yeah. Legatus Legion is asking, has King Dolphin TV already gave Rob Ellis the info needed to 3D print the Devil Ray from the Dolphin Wars? And do we get to see the results live on King Dolphin TV? Wow.
Well, let me see here. I need to find that.
There is a backstory to this. Last year we had a guy we have a guy who makes aircraft and other aviation related things out of Lego.
Okay.
And his name is Brick Plania. That is the company's name. His name is Alex. And on a whim, I asked him, could you do a Devil Ray? And he said, okay, give me pictures of the general layout, the side view. In a day, he came up with a Lego version of my hero ship from my book series.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I know that's probably not going to happen here, but is that possible?
If I can find the STL, then I might be able to do that. So
okay.
I'll have to throw it to my marketing manager too. So
we'll talk in the green room.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll talk in the green room.
There you go.
All right. Okay.
That would be pretty cool. So it's a plane though.
Yeah. Well, it's a spaceship.
Okay. All right.
It's a spaceship from my science fiction series.
Okay. Yeah. Let's talk. Let's talk in the green room and see what we can come up with.
Let's talk. And Snorter Poopas Cuber says, waves of Paul Hope, the 3D Devil Ray. See, it's out there. They want it. They want it.
Let's work something. Let's figure out how we can get that done.
Yeah. Let's see. Back to you. Okay. Legatus. So, has the people from the Society of Creative Anachronism been coming to get some neat items from you? Oh, that's a good question.
Interesting. I have not seen anyone from there, I don't think. Most of the stuff we do is live shows, in-person shows. For me, online is so much harder to sell. So in-person shows for me is where it's at. One, I love to talk. Okay. Two, if I can get you to touch it and hold on to it, you're hooked.
That's true.
So, I mean, online, there's thousands of people doing these items. What would make them choose me? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All they have to do is, Shopify or Etsy,
right.
And then boom, you've got thousands of people right there. Why do I need to compete with that when I can go into live shows. So as far as them coming up to me, they've never introduced me like to themselves to me, but maybe.
Huh. So, yeah, it's been kind of, yeah, I've gone to, I've gone to the one comic show where we met, and I've done a book signing at a farmer's market in Charlestown.
Okay.
So,
yeah, because when we were at the car show not too long ago, the Legion downtown, and we had a blast there. It was awesome. They asked us to come back. I was like, okay, cool. I'm down.
All right. Let's see. Pierre Kelly says, "Yeah, you must be a tick." Oh, those are cool. They almost look like they're crochet. The texture looks like they're crocheted.
Those are actually the biggest hit right now. A lot of the crochet. I'll go back one too. These deers and trees. Those are actually done by Body 3D. Those have the pattern of crochet as well.
Oh, that is nice.
Yeah.
Pierre Kelly says he must be a TikTokaholic.
I really am. I'm on it. I try and post in the morning because that's where I get the most traction. And if you follow any of the 3D printers in there, Akuma Mods, Lee David, Daisy Lee, I love all their stuff. They're great creators. They're great content creators as well, and they help you. They in the printing world, there are ones that help, and there are gatekeepers. They don't want you to succeed, so they try and put you down. I kind of classify myself as one of those that want to help you. If you ask questions about it, how to do this. I have people all the time coming up to my booth. Hey, I'm having problems with my printer, such and such. Well, let's look it up. Let's find out together. Let's do this. I want you to be successful too. I'm not in it for me. I'm in it for bringing all of this to everybody else. So, and that's what a lot of these other creators on TikTok as well do. So they've helped me along my journey too. I've reached out to, because we do resin printing as well. And when I put my toe into that water, I was like, this is crazy. What am I doing? I had no clue. And I reached out to Akuma Mods, and he walked me all through it, helped me out. It was great.
Nice.
Yeah.
Legatus says, Legatus asks, do you use a 3D modeling program, getting files from others, or do you program yourself or have a 3D scanner to help in the reproduction stage?
That's an awesome question. Like I said, my modeling skills are that or a Tic Tac, one of the two. I
show that again.
Oh, yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I Patreon other designers to help them out, and they help me out by giving me the commercial license to sell their wares after I print it. So those files, we don't sell those files. So if you're a Patreon, subscriber, you're automatically told in the headlines, do not sell the STL files. You will get kicked, blah, 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 which is cool. A lot of people don't follow that rule, which irks me so much. Or they'll go and they'll find free models on certain sites, and then they'll sell those off as their, they don't give credit to the designer. So they just sell those off, and boom, they're trying to make money. I do use Fusion 360. I don't. I had one around, but I helped a buddy of mine design a model for his house. He wanted to put it up on a pole, so we sat down. We actually modeled it. He's an actual model. He does modeling and stuff too. He just didn't have a printer with him,
Mm-hmm.
so we sat down. We modeled it out. I got it printed out, and boom, done. For other models such as like this. Sorry about the food in the background. If anybody wants mashed potatoes and biscuits, they're all gone. My bad. But this right here, this one's done by Printcox. I'm assuming he used either Blender or he used Nomad Sculpt. Those are actually modeling. That's actual modeling software that you can use a pen and kind of just design it out. You start with a blob and then you shape it the way you want it. So it's like clay, just modeling clay. So those are the two that I use. There's Blender. There's another one they're just a little more difficult for me than these two that I use. So
okay. What sorts of materials do you use, or what you use most, and what is the preferred material?
So the material itself is you've got several different kinds. You've got PLA, which all of it is plastic. Oop, I just got a shipment in today. Luckily, PLA. That's probably a terrible color because it's green. It's a plastic string.
Okay.
But you can get it in all sorts of different colors. Like the Omega Droid there, which comes in a dual color. That is PLA. You also have what they call PETG. You can use carbon fiber. You can do TPU, which is a flexible material. When you print that, you can actually make shoes with that, like sandals. There's a guy that printed off his own sandals, like monster sandals with those. But that's a very flexible material. It does make quite a mess if it messes up, which any of them do, but it just depends on, if you kept your machine up to date, cleaned up and everything like that.
Now so this plastic string, okay, so let me see if I get the principle right. You put the plastic string in a reservoir or whatever.
Right.
Obviously, it's going to melt and then feed through an aperture.
Yep.
And will draw whatever is on the computer program.
Correct. So when you've got your extruder that feeds the filament up to what we call the hot end. The hot end gets up to about 400 to 500 degrees, and melts the plastic, puts it on a build plate. Oh, that's terrible too. Puts it on a build plate.
Yeah, let me.
Sorry, I keep switching back and forth to. There we go.
Yeah.
It'll spit it out on the build plate in the design that it needs to. The computer tells it the G code for. And it takes a long time for one model to get printed.
Mm-hmm.
This droid head right here took 2 days to print.
Wow.
On my big printer.
And
I run
continuously.
Right.
So you don't stop it. It's just going to go and go and go.
Right. And once it's done, it's done. It knows when to stop. But power outage is my worst nightmare. Because that plate needs to stay heated to about 55 degrees Celsius at all times, just to keep that model stuck to the plate. If it cools off by 3 degrees, they could pop that model right off, and I've got spaghetti for dinner. So, but yeah, it gets kind of warm down here in the shop. I got 5 machines usually running all at the same time.
Whoa. Helps during the winter.
Oh yeah. Oh, most definitely. My wife hates it because of the noise, but I mean, less heating bill, noise, But that's my preferred is PLA. And like I said, we've started doing resin. Resin is just really smelly. It's a photochemical compound. I will definitely get to that in a second, Phantom. I love that question. A lot of people have been using it. Sorry. My ADD had kicked in. But the resin itself is kind of, if you don't have the right air purifier or something like that, or hooked out to the outside, it gets real stinky real quick. So I don't run my resin machines as much, but for stuff like, Christmas ornaments and things like that, or just, little small statues for D&D and things like that, I'll print off like 5 or 6 on a plate and be done. So,
Christina Hoffman Art says, and she was at the con, we love 3D printing custom minis for our D&D and Warhammer games.
Yep. And that's a big ticket item. Lots of people have asked me about it. I just don't do enough resin printing to warrant me printing them. You know what I mean? Like I have people ask me all the time, do you do D&D? Do you do D&D? I was like, I don't yet. I'm still dipping my toe into the resin. It's been 8 months, 9 months. So I've just got to find the right, I have to find the right modeler or the right Patreon that I would want to go with and want to sell it. But some of the ones are expensive. Like the Patreons that I do are $10 a month. A lot of these D&D ones are like 37 or 50 or 60 a month. And as a small business, I can't keep up with that. You know what I mean? So, but I am working on it. I'm trying.
Okay. Okay, let's see. Legata says, cheap in-house labor. Hey, keep it in the family.
There you go. And oddly enough, her and I were joking about that the other day. The reason it was supposed to be E3D Printing Studio is because of my last name.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was just going to carry it on. Well, my last name and 3D printing was taken, and I was like, crap. So I couldn't use that, so I had to just abbreviate it to this. So it's funny because her first name can go along with this after she wants to take it over.
So, sounds like you're trained.
There you go, kid.
Sounds like you're training her to take over the business.
Oh yeah, at some point.
Okay. Gaddis asks, how big or small are the items you can create with your current printer? But you can have so many of them, though.
Right.
How many do you have? 5, you said?
I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 5 FDM printers. I've got 2 resin printers. So I've got 7 total right now.
Okay.
Like I said, we usually just stick with the FDM. the filament printers for right now,
Okay.
especially in the wintertime, because resin gets really tricky in the winter. You have to keep it at a certain temp, or models just it becomes a nightmare. But let's see, the Ender 5 Pros, those are 250 by 250 by 300 millimeters, so roughly yay tall. And if you fill the whole build plate, yay wide. So maybe 9-10 inches.
Okay.
But we did pick up a big boy. We've actually had two of them. One of them donked out on us. But it's the Elegoo Neptune 3 Max. And that one is, I want to say 400 by 400 by 450. So it's 450 millimeters tall, 400 millimeters wide. So you're looking at a model. There we go. That right there.
Oh, wow. Ah, so that's the printer.
Yeah. That right there is the Imperial Dragon by Flexi Factory. That was scaled up to 200%. And from head to tail on it, it was roughly 4.5 feet long. And a lady ended up buying that at one of the shows that I went to for $150. So we do big dragons as well. But that's the scale size that you're looking at as far as like how big my or how wide. Tall wise, you could go I want to say 2.5 feet. So, and the others, the bamboos are 256 by 256 by 300. So, and the worst part is they're all measured in millimeters. So I'd have to do I usually have my Google conversion ready, but there we go. 256 by millimeters to inches, which is 10 inches. There we go.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, on the Bamboo Lab machines, which are multi-color, those can go about 10 inches wide by 11 inches tall. So
okay. And I'd like to welcome Pudgy Hedgehog and Anti-Derivative Jill to the chat, and Sci-Fi Mombi. Glad you guys can come in and partake of the interview. Okay, like Goddess asked, and you answered about the licensing.
Right.
Okay.
No, I mean, you do have to worry about the licensing, especially online sales. But like I said, I try and stick to original creations done by the creators. There's only a couple of those that I have, like the Thor's hammer, the Spawn, and the Mando. I did have a lady commission. She wanted to commission me to do a full Mandalorian outfit. Yeah. And I was like, well, I mean, I could do it. No problem. You want me to paint it? You want me to get it all situated? She's like, yeah. I was like, all right. Now keep in mind, this was in September. And I was like, okay. When do you need it by? And she said, well, I need it by Halloween. And I was like, next year? You're not getting it this year. So I lost out on about $2,000. Yeah. I mean, like if this was my daily job, I would have probably been able to bang that out. You know, but no, I nah.
I want to, yeah, when it's still a second line.
Right.
Yeah.
But God, that would have been amazing to do.
Yeah. Yeah, that would have been awesome.
Oh.
Let's see.
There we go.
Chris. Wow. Wow.
That's
is
that's
amazing.
one of the articulating dragons from Cinderwing 3D.
Wow.
All of these lines right here that you see, layer lines, those are actually on every print, even in the helmets. So you literally have to sand down all those layer lines to get it as smooth as possible. That's why it takes so long for the helmets. But with these, it's barely noticeable.
Yeah, it actually looks like more like their scale.
Right. Which is nice. And like this one's done off the P1S, the Bamboo Labs P1S. So these are actually all printed at the same time. Just it throws down the black filament, colors in the purple, switches filament, colors in the black, switches filament, colors in the purple. So
now you still have to assemble this.
Nope. These print just like that.
Wow.
Yeah. Like this right here, there's a better view of it. As this part right here builds, it'll start throwing a circle around this way. And then this one will come up and start building a circle around this way.
Oh, okay.
So it actually links it together like a chain.
Wow.
So it builds it that way from the ground up.
That is amazing. That is that is awesome.
That was actually a commission piece I did 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks? Wow.
Yeah. She loved it. She was, I can't wait. I dropped it off with her husband and he was like, oh my God, she's going to love it.
Wow. That is just absolutely awesome. Christina Hoffman, I know you can't really see it in StreamYards, but you could look into YouTube. Christina Hoffman is just absolutely a god with her emojis out there showing she's a god. Let's see. Let's see. Pierre Kelly says does have a red and blue scheme.
I can actually paint that any color I want.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Bamboo Studios is one of the newer printers that just came out with multicolor extrusion. So basically you have four spools that sit on the top of the machine. And they sit in what's called an AMS, an automatic material system. It feeds into the machine one piece at a time. So you tell it in the slicing program what color, say, this is going to be. I can change this to blue if I want and change this to red. And then the machine knows, all right, I need to spit out red here. I need to pull that back. I need to spit out blue here. So it does it all by itself.
Okay.
The tricky part is getting it all painted up. That's where it becomes, because you've got to get into these fine lines back in here. The eyes, you can't really see it, but that's actually purple. I had to put that in myself.
Yeah, I could see it.
Yeah. And sometimes it bleeds over into these scales over here. So you've got to clean it up as much as possible.
Okay. Wow. That is amazing.
I love Cinderwing 3D. Tracy does amazing models. Like this is just her crystal dragon. She does a crystal wing dragon. Actually, this is her gemstone dragon.
Ooh, that's nice.
And that's actually a picture of my, is that Tom or Jerry? I think that's Tom. I named all my printers.
Oh.
Yeah, Tom and Jerry. We've got R2 and R5. We've got Spike and Ike and the Kraken. So
that's cool. Personalize them.
Yep.
Okay. And here is the hard-hitting question of the evening from Pudgy Hedgehog Adventures. Question. What is your favorite cookie? Part 2. Can you 3D print cookies? Okay, let's do the hard-hitting question first. What is your favorite cookie?
My favorite cookie. That's it. You know what? I'm going to have to say the Chips Ahoy soft batch cookies.
All right.
Those, the chocolate chip soft ones, chewies. Those are great.
Okay. All right.
And yes, you can 3D print a cookie. There's an STL file of an Oreo cookie that's kind of like a little change band, like a change band. It screws together. So the Oreo cookie on the bottom, and then the white filling is hollowed out in the middle, and then the cookie on top screws together. It's really
okay.
cool. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think you can 3D print edibles. Yeah.
Yeah.
Edible cookies.
I mean, they're working on that, but they are 3D printing food now.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm going to eat that though.
Yeah. Okay. Legatus Legion I, we got the hard-hitting question done. Giving credit, do you put the original artist's name on the items, either inside or on the bottom? Or
I
does
don't.
The printer, okay, so the printer doesn't have a way to.
Well, it does, because each artist, so each artist kind of tags their own, depending on if they want to or not. Cinderwing doesn't, just because a lot of people know that come to the shows, we kind of just spill it out to them. This is a model done by Cinderwing 3D, blah, 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 blah. Some artists, like, let me find it. Oh, I'll go back to this one. Pipecocks. This right here at the bottom is his logo.
Oh.
So he puts that into the models himself. A lot of artists actually do that.
Okay.
Flexi Factory, Pipecocks, Pretzel Prints, Sassy Cat. A lot of those artists will do that because, and I always give the artists their due, because everybody's like, oh, you do great design, you get. And I tell them flat out, I stop them. I'm like, nope, I don't do any of the designs. And I tell them, we Patreon them, we help them out, they help us out. And so I always try and give the artists, as much recognition as possible, because they do great work. Like I'm not going to take that away from them. I'm not that guy. So. There's some that don't do, like Body 3D. He doesn't put anything on his. That's a good one too. Those actually glow in the dark.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, these are. I think these are blue. Yeah, we tagged all the blue ones with the black keychains. But these are the big hit during the Halloween season. All the crocheted spiders and crocheted ghosts and things like that.
Nice. Great. I love that texture.
Yeah, and it feels great too. Like when you pick it up, you're like, oh my, it feels awesome. Oh, here we go. That's better.
Oh, that's cool.
And these guys actually glow in the dark as well. These actually glow. This one was orange, and this one was blue.
Okay.
So, and you can actually see the better details of the crocheted item.
Okay.
So.
All right. Now, I think you may have answered this earlier, but if you didn't, Cobalt did. Why don't you have an emergency power supply attached to the printer in case of outage?
Right. That actually was the one I was pointing at earlier. I didn't answer it yet, but so the power supplies, one, I mean, those things run like anywhere between $150 and $400 a piece. I know I've seen some that were like, $300 or $400. And we're a small shop. We're a small workshop right now. I'm still in my basement doing it.
Okay.
This summer we're going to try and convert the garage over, and that way I can have all the printers in the garage and those hopefully power supplies in with it. They are a great thing to have. A lot of other designers and creators have said, go and get you one. You're going to want it. The good news is a lot of these printers actually have a recovery system. So if, say, the power flickers, and just shuts off for a second and then turns back on, as long as you get back down there and say resume, and the bed doesn't cool off too much, then it should pick right back up from where it left off.
Okay.
And not pop off the plate. Sometimes, when I'm at work and my wife's at work, all the kids are at school, I don't have that luxury. So I would love to get one of those.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, it's right now, it's just not in the cards. I haven't had that many issues lately. But with our area, a squirrel runs across the power line, it could go out, So.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And Cobalt made an answer as well. Yep. They only have so much charge capacity.
Right. And it's usually about 8 hours. I think depending on the size of it, it's usually 6 to 8 hours. The bigger ones could do, I think they said 12, but those are also larger machines. And the printers don't really draw that much high power off of it. And it's more of startup. Like when you start to heat everything up, that's where it draws the most power. But to keep it consistent, it doesn't really require that much.
Okay. Bam Outsider says, when will they start making 3D printers with multiple extruders? This way, 2 to 4 going at the same time, cutting down the time.
They have those.
Okay.
They do have those. Off the top of my head, I want to say Elegoo and Prusa. And there's one other company, and it's escaped me right now. But Elegoo is actually coming out right now. They're on a Kickstarter right now for their 800 by 800 by 800 millimeter build volume. So you're talking the size of my office right now for this machine, and it can fit up to 4 extruders on it, and it can print 4 different pieces. Well, let's see. 4, 8, so 12 items at a time. That machine's running about $2,500 right now. Yeah.
So it's just the money.
Right. I would love to get that. If I do, I will probably need a place to stay because my wife will probably kick me out.
Yeah.
But that is in the works. That is a goal to have for when we get the garage and everything converted over to my studio.
Okay. Let's see. Phantom Outsider says, there is a 3D pancake maker, and the pancakes are edible.
Yep. And there's also a chocolate 3D printing printer as well. they show them off at the rep shows. They're printing conventions all over the country. People go. I have not been able to get to one. I wanted to get to Murph this year, but I didn't get the chance to go because we were actually at a show at the same time it was going on, which I was like, ah. And my daughter was like, sorry, my marketing manager, she was like, hey, we have this on our schedule today. And I was like, oh, but baby, we have this show to do. And she's like, all right, that's fine. So, but that's where they show off a lot of the new filaments that are coming out.
Yeah.
A lot of the new printers that are coming out. A lot of designers go to these too, so they can show off their new designs that they haven't been able to put out yet. So it's very helpful for anybody interested in getting into the 3D printing world to get to one of those, to see what it's like, to see what the ins and outs and what the quirks would be for printing.
Yeah. Okay. All right, let's see here. They're talking, of course, King Dolphin TV is all about food. So there's discussion about 3D food printing out there. Yeah, you can't get away from food at King Dolphin TV. Legatus asks, when you buy a license, does it depend on the owner if it's for X number of pieces for X number of months? And depending on the wording, do you also give a royalty for every piece made or sold? Oh, that's a good question.
That's an awesome question, actually. And a lot of people don't understand how the Patreons work. So you can go on to, say, Colts 3D right now and buy a commercial license for a model, one model. And that's the only one you would be allowed to sell. Or you could go on to Patreon and pay $10 a month or whatever their subscription fee is. That subscription fee pays the designer. And it also, they tell you how many pieces that they would be releasing per month. So say like Cinderwing 3D releases roughly 5-6 models a month and some bonuses. So you could get like keychains and other things like that, but you have the license rights to sell the prints. So you're not really buying the license to that model. You're buying the license to be able to sell the product that you put out.
Okay.
That's an awesome, I love the way that's worded too, because I get that a lot at every show that I go to. So, and as far as like royalty, they don't, that's a part of their,
the subscription fee.
Correct. Right.
Okay. Pancake bot under 250 if you want to be.
Pancake, yeah.
3D edible
not a bad
pancakes,
idea.
but you gotta flip them yourself.
Oh, interesting.
Now, if you wanted to do that Dragon with the 2500 machine, how much faster would it be? Oh.
So that Dragon took 4 days to print, the big one. I'm assuming that's what we're talking about. That big one took about 4 days to print. I believe the same specs are in place for that, the 800 by 800. It might be slightly faster, but it's still going to take a long time because now you have more build volume to take up. So you're probably pushing yourself to about 8 days because of the extra size of the build plate.
Okay.
But I mean, it could go faster. It depends on how much you bump up the speeds and change your settings as far as flow rate and temps and stuff like that.
Okay. So we've seen all your pictures, haven't we?
We got that guy.
All right.
That's a big hit at the holiday ones right now. Those are
Well,
pretty.
of course, he's the Grinch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know, none of my Santas sold this past
You
weekend.
see,
These
guys.
guys did.
See, guys. The Grinch is my spirit animal.
And then and there's my marketing manager. She actually is holding up a scaled version of the Flexi Factory skeleton hands. I did those at 200%, and they're roughly the size of her. So she loves taking them when we go out to the shows, and she'll put them in her sleeves and she'll start walking around. I'm like, all right, kid, you break them, you bought them. So,
but she says, "Hey, I'm working."
Yeah, and oddly enough, we went to a festival. That's kind of off topic, but we went to a festival last year, a fairy festival, and she would take the dragons, and she would walk around the fairy festival. And all of a sudden, like, I was like, where did she go? My oldest daughter was with me, and I was like, where did she go? She's like, oh, she's walking around. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Hey, where did that dragon go? She was like, oh, she took it with her. Next thing I know, there's 30 people at the stand. And I'm like, where did these people come from? And they'd leave. And I'm like, okay. They buy whatever, and they'd leave. And I'm like, okay. My youngest would come back, and she's like, hey, can I take this dragon with me? Sure. She'd leave. 20, 30 minutes later, there's a horde of people at the stand. I'm like, this is why she's my marketing manager. She was going around to everyone, and they were like, oh my God, that's so cute. Where did you get that from? Oh, that's staying right over there. That one, you can go see them. Yeah. Crazy. I love that kid. I think I'll keep that one for a while.
Hey, yeah, after all, she's gonna take over.
Exactly. She's got to take over at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think those were all the photos.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, for people that haven't seen the shirt though, I was told that it got kind of scorched there.
There we go.
Oh.
Yeah, the green screen
is my spirit animal. Okay, let's see. Let's say Phantom is asking, let's say you're allowed to sell 4, but but you don't sell them during the month. You still have the rights. Can you sell the rights?
Yeah, as long as you're a Patreon. So it's a monthly subscription. So when we do is we download the files. So we have them. I have all mine on a thumb drive. That way, if my computer crashes, I've got it backed up. So we kind of store them wherever you want, off a separate drive or whatever. But they're yours technically as long as you are a Patreon. Once you end your subscription, yes, you still have them. Morally, should you sell them? No. To me, morally, I would not sell them if I'm not a Patreon of them, because I'm cheating the designer and not giving them what they're owed.
Okay.
And like I said before, like some people actually go out there and do that, and it irks me. I've talked to a guy a couple shows ago, about 6 shows ago, and he was like, I just go on, get the free files and sell them. I'm like, I can't talk to you. It's crazy. Like, how can you do, so
They're shenanigans abide.
Yep.
Okay. And I was wondering if the multiple extruders would operate in unison on a single product.
No,
project?
I don't
Okay.
believe they would, because so the way the printer is set up, actually, can I, mind if I go back to the present?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Screen share, window, this one, share. Okay. So where'd my, there we go. So the way the printers are set up is you've got your X and Y axis, and then you've got your Z axis, which goes up. Okay. The extruders are still limited to the Z rod right here. This is your Z rod that goes up, but this is your Z rod across to actually move this print head back and forth. As it goes up, it builds on these layers.
Mhm.
So the way they have those worked out for, and don't get me wrong, like they've tried it, it's just a little more difficult, but everything stays on that linear rail. So everything would move all at once, back and forth. They have tried a couple of machines where the print head comes back, but now you're not operating off of multi extruders all at once. You're operating off of one single extruder at a time as an AMS system.
Okay.
So they're all kind of, right now they're all kind of limited to that Z rail right now.
Okay. All right.
I think it was just easier to show that one.
Yeah, that's fine. Legatus asks, the subscription fee covers the license and it is up to you if you make any during that time. But when the license expires or you decide not to renew, can you still sell what you've already produced?
So, I mean, that's a gray area. That depends on the person. Me, I would not. I try and make sure, like I was freaking out the other day because none of my Patreon subscriptions went through. And I was like, oh my God, I have a show this weekend. I just printed all of this stuff. Like, I was freaking out. And I went through, it was just a card issue. I forgot to set auto. Duh. So, to me personally, I would not. There are probably people that do that. And I know I've already spent that money in material and time and processing, post-processing and things like that. But to me, I don't think it would be fair because I let my subscription lapse to sell that item because I didn't pay them this month. It's like they turned your card off because you didn't pay your, credit card,
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it would be for me to do it that way.
Okay. All right. Unless there are any more questions, feel free to put it into the private chat. But what social media and or web pages do you have for your YouTube channel, whatever? Please put them out there. That way I can share them.
Let's put it here.
While you're doing that, okay.
Oops. If I could type today, it'd be great.
Okay, we'll wait till you've got that so we don't distract.
That's our Facebook.
Okay.
And then TikTok has such a strange link, but if you just search E3D Printing Studio.
Okay. All right.
Oops, I messed that up, but there we go. There we go. And
Okay.
it'd just be. I do have an Etsy store. It's still it's just E3D Printing Studio. But I
Okay.
don't really sell anything on Etsy. Like I said, online is not my forte.
You want to do it on the. You want to do it on in person where you
Correct.
can meet the customer.
Yep.
Okay. The Ghana says for the Halloween items, you make sure you have all of October covered, and for Christmas items, you make sure all of December is covered.
That's funny. So I actually started printing Christmas stuff in October. I mean, and that's the thing. But what kills me is a lot of the designers. I love them to death, but they start dropping those models at the beginning of the month. Like for December, there's a couple of people that just started dropping holiday items for December, and I'm like, how am I going to get all this out in time? Now, keep in mind, we're just a small, business, but there's a lot of people out there that have 20, 30, 40 machines running 24/7 that as soon as a model drops, boom, they're putting it in. They have that capability. I don't. So whatever I had from last year's models, as far as Christmas and holiday themes and stuff like that, I started printing those in October and November just so I could get them ready for December.
Okay.
So
it's the timing. It's the timing of them dropping the models,
right.
So you could be able to start working on them.
And that's the thing. Like it's as soon as they drop. Who was it? God, I want to say it was Body 3D just dropped on Monday the Advent calendar for this year. I'm like, huh? I don't have time to get that done. Plus, get it loaded up and ready to go for my next 4 shows, which are the end of the season. Before Christmas and stuff like that. But there are some that think about it beforehand and they're like, all right, let's drop these in, September, October, so you can get ready for it. Actually, there's a couple of them that just dropped for Valentine's.
That's pretty. Yeah. So in retail, seasonal items are booked several months in advance. Should they not offer? I mean, you would think their models,
right?
You would think.
The thing is, like, their focus is design. They're not thinking of when these designs are going to go out.
Right.
Like all of a sudden, something hits them. Like when Printverse dropped these, he wasn't thinking, last month, whoa, what about a Grinch? You know what I mean? He probably sat down one night and him and his wife were talking, and all of a sudden he was like, that's a great idea, and just started modeling. Okay. A lot of these designers go out and they boom, all of a sudden it hits them and they're like, oh yeah, that would be cool, and then put it out.
Right. But the time they have to do it, cuts into the time you've got
to print it.
Print it.
And there's really no option for that. Like we can. So when you subscribe to their Patreon, you do have like accessibility to them. Like you can message them and say, hey, could we possibly get like a Valentine's Day drop, like maybe end of January or start of January, so we can get ready. And they'll put a poll up. Hey, what do you guys want to see next? Stuff like that.
Okay. And so it doesn't matter if there was a Christmas design 2 years ago, as long as you've got the membership, you can print and sell them. In that
right. I was just looking at that one too. I was like, yep. So I have I've been a member with Hex 3D for 2 years, 2 years straight now, 2 years straight. And I've used last year's models and this year's models so far that he's dropped. And and Jeff is over in Australia.
Whoa.
So, yeah. Like these modelers are all over the place. Like they boom. And he does great work too. That was the helmet, the Mandalorian helmet was his design. But yes, they it doesn't matter when, as long as you're a subscriber still, you still have access, like, because you can physically download it to your machine, like to your computer. So you physically have access to all the models whenever. But it's not like they can get into your computer and they go and yank it out.
That's up to you if you decide to discontinue them.
If I discontinue, I would probably delete that file because I keep each one of them in their own separate files, and I would be like, not anymore. Sorry. So.
Okay. Okay. Let's see.
They pulled models.
Have they pulled models because of a more updated model, or since it's an electronic file, they will always want you to use it so long as the subscription is current?
So they won't necessarily pull a model. I've seen some people do it, but what they'll do is they'll update like a version 2. So you'll still have the original 1 version. That Mandalorian helmet is a version 2 model, because I have the first one, which has no inside details on the inside. Actually, you know what? Here, it's right here. I'll show you. Sorry.
Okay. Here, I'm going to put up his, while we're waiting, there is his Facebook account.
Oh, crap.
And there is his TikTok.
There we go.
Link. All right.
So this is the second version of the model. And the reason that one's the second is because inside you see the details and the hatchwork and stuff like that. That's all circuitry board that he designed for the inside of it. So he actually put a whole bunch of, the lighting's terrible in here for me, my bad. But he introduced a whole bunch of hatchwork and things like that all the way up, and I pad those up to the top. Okay, so none of that was in the first design. So when he came out with version 2, this was the version that he did, which was nice because a lot of people will pick this helmet up and they're like, oh, whoa, look at the inside. This is crazy, you know? So it helps us out as far as sale. So as far as like pulling a design, they might not do that. Updating the design to something a little bit more, adding something to it, then yeah, they'll do that and keep increasing. Or if say there's something wrong with the model itself, like something wasn't printing right and too many people complained about it, they'll fix that piece and update it to a version 2 or version 3, things like that.
Okay. Now this is going to tie into the question I've got, so I'll put the Phantoms. Is that helmet printed as one piece, or does it need to be assembled? And tying into that is how do, because I saw you put the Spawn helmet on. How do you size it for somebody's head?
So there's the first part of the question. Yes and no. So this one did print out in one piece because I have a large enough printer to do it. Some of these other guys, some of the other printers, the smaller build plate, it won't fit. So yes, you can cut it into different parts and print it that way and glue it together, seam it, then sand it and make it look one piece. I was lucky enough to pick up this printer this year, actually, after my first one died out on me. So I can print large enough where I don't have to worry about it, cutting it up. I find that cutting it up makes too much work for me. That's why I wanted the big printer, so I didn't have to worry about it. And as far as scaling wise, this is scaled at 100%. That helmet is. So that fits my head. And what you would do is you would take a measuring tape and then kind of wrap it around different pieces of your head, nose, or calipers. We have what we call cosplay calipers that look like death tongs. You squeeze it over the head, nose to back, and then ear to ear, and you kind of leave like maybe a centimeter to an inch off of the ear and nose. And then that way you get the dimensions off of that, and you plug it in and you scale it to size that way.
Okay. Have a good evening, Christina Hoffman.
Bye, Christina. Thanks for coming.
Yes, thank you. And I think on that note, we're going to start the wrap up, which means
cool.
Shows with Mr. Rain. Show goes with Sandra too. Mr. Raymond, push the button.
okay. Phantom Outsider says, okay, so the helmets and or designs can be scaled. So if a polar bear wanted one, it'd fit his snoot too. I don't know.
I mean, you could stretch out this piece. It would look a little awkward, but
yeah,
you could do it.
Yeah, well, because that would be tough for Snort to put it on.
Right. Okay,
show notes for the rest of the year. Wow. Already talking the rest of the year. This Sunday, and actually I may be switching that around. My away mission may or may not take it. So it will be a Sunday show on King Dolphin TV this coming Sunday. Uncensored, unvarnished, unforgiven, unscathed. The usual mayhem. A week from tonight, we're going to have Janet from Another Planet come and visit, talk about her channel, talk about her wares. On the 16th, on Saturday, we will be having Just 'Cause, the place with anything can happen, and make sure you have the kiddie table set to go. Remember, we're getting ready for the Slappies, so make sure you get some practice in the next couple of Just Causes. The 20th, I'll be doing a Surfside chat. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but I will figure that out. The 23rd it's going to be on the 24th because I decided to do a Christmas Eve show. Just because we may do some tracking of Santa using the NORAD the NORAD site. So we'll do a Christmas Eve just cuz. The 27th, not sure what's going to happen, but there will be a Wednesday show. And the 30th will be the Slappies. Make sure you have your most incredulous jokes. The ones that you think will be on the kiddie table, but maybe not. So we're the first annual Slappy Award. And on December 31st, we'll have a New Year's Eve show. So that is King Dolphin TV for the rest of the month. I hope you will all be here and looking forward for a fun December season. And Laganas asked, by scaling up or down, do you sometimes lose detailing? Are they warned ahead of time it might happen?
Yes. Yes and yes. With scaling, with resin, you can sometimes lose detail. But with resin printing, it's more light focused, so you have better detail in general because you've got 4K, 8K, resolutions like that anyway. With FDM, the only way you're really going to lose resolution is if you make it itty bitty for like the helmet. Most of the stuff for articulated items, you don't want to go past a certain point because the hinges and all the links start to become melted together because they don't have enough room to print. So you could lose detail in that. It just won't articulate. But a lot of these models won't lose that much detail. So, and I do warn them ahead of time. Like if I'm doing a helmet, like one of these, it won't lose as much the larger you get. So it shouldn't be that big of an issue. But I will tell them that it could happen. So
okay. All right. So that was show notes.
Shows with Mr. Rain. Shows with Sandra Mr. Raymond, push the button.
All right. Well, thank you, Rob, for being here. And I enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed seeing a lot of your stuff tonight. And I'm sure the chat, well, judging from all the questions and stuff, the chat enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, glad to have you. So we shall start saying goodnight to everybody. And just remember, this coming Sunday, we will have Just Cuz, the Sunday edition. So I'd like to thank Captain Finity, Cobalt Bald Eagle, Christina Hoffman, Art, Phantom Outsider, Pierre Kelly, and Sci-Fi Mambi. We got to talk Sci-Fi Mambi. And Taylor Swift, Greater Than Disney, as my chatters. Thank you for being here. Glad to have you. And, of course, my amazing wrench team. Sandra, my producer, my other half. Love you, baby. We had Anti-Derivative Jill. Please subscribe to her channel. We had Dalek451. Please subscribe to his channel or he will exterminate you. We had the first one in, the last one out of Legatus Legionii. Your questions tonight were absolutely awesome. Yours and Phantom Outsiders were great. And that's the hallmark of King Dolphin TV. Hard-hitting questions. And speaking of hard-hitting questions, Pudgy Hedgehog and the cookie question. Always delectable. And we had the Comic Relief Crusader who is here. And lastly, but not leastly, otherwise he's going to devour me. Start up a bus! Cuba! Dot scream! Ah! Ah! Great show. Great show. Is he gonna do do you think I make a knife profile on a 3D print?
I could probably do that.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Mr. Rob. Take care.
No problem. Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Yes, thank you. Wes Cagle came in at the very end. Well, always check it out on the rewind.
True.
And again, just go on his Facebook page and also his TikTok. Let me put those out there one more time. Let's see. Just scroll up. Okay. There is his Facebook page. And there is his TikTok page. All right. And just make sure, everybody, before you leave, you like and subscribe if you haven't already. And we're on the road to 500. So we hope to get there eventually. But everybody, you have a great evening. Don't forget, Pop Culture Breakdown is on tomorrow. So make sure you do say a pod raid. So, all right, everybody, be safe, be happy, and take care, and see you Sunday. Bye, all.